if anybody else joins. So before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Jessica Rorson, and I'm working with the IBDS program. And my role is just to help facilitate the execution of these webinars. Before we get started, I just wanted to do a land acknowledgement, as we are on Treaty 6 territory and homeland of the Métis. We pay our respects to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place, and we reaffirm our relationships with one another. So today we have Leane Durand from, well, she's working with The Well, but she's also self-employed in a multitude of ways. And our topic today is validating your business idea. So Leane, do you want to just get started?
That sounds great. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me too. I'm really excited to be here. I'm just going to start by sharing my screen. We will see how it might take me a second here to get this going. I'm assuming you cannot see that yet.
Not yet.
This is the joys of technology.
I know. Like, where is the presentation among all these files?
I have it. It's not letting me share for some reason. Oh, there we go. Everybody can see that now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to move us down. Put it into presenter. There we go. Got it. So I have a dream, the idea of a business. So that's the title of my presentation today. I think we all start with dreaming when it comes to a business. And that's where I'd like to start. So I thought I'd introduce myself first. My name is Leane Durand. I'm a former educator, so that's where my career started. I got my degree here up in Saskatoon at the U of S. I taught with the Saskatoon public school system for 9 years. I'm the founder and CEO of a shoe store. Some of you may have heard of it. It was called Durand's. So I had that business for 15 years here in the city. I was also founder and CEO of a business for a little shorter period of time. It was called Ann and Rosie. So that was a business that was right beside. And the reason I want to include that is because I think it's really important to talk about businesses that were successful, but businesses that maybe sometimes weren't as successful. So it's really important to also include, I also always include that kind of in my CV or my resume, is that I had a really successful business, but I also had this journey that included a business that wasn't quite as successful. So I had the business Ann and Rosie for 3 years. Currently, I'm a partner in the Well Collaborative Inc. I have also done business consulting. I have put that on hold right now because I am become the president of a not-for-profit here in the city, the Saskatoon Restorative Action Program, Inc. And I'm also a content creator. So I do a lot of writing. I do blog posts for other businesses in the city. So I wear many hats, which I think a lot of us do, especially people who are entrepreneurial in spirit. We like to have, you know, a lot of things on the go. So that's me. So I'd like to welcome everyone, and I was hoping maybe we could do some quick introductions and maybe a little bit about who you are and you know, what business or what business idea that you currently have. So I have a few people on this screen. I think Jennifer, you introduce yourself, but maybe if you want to go ahead and just do a quick reintroduction.
Did you mean me, Jessica?
Oh, sorry, Jessica. I apologize. Yeah,
No,
Jessica.
okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's completely fine. I actually have a small business called Métis Roots Outsourcing. And so my business is that I'm basically doing contract work for a variety of different organizations and helping them with social media, some website management. I'm finding facilitators for workshops such as this and organizing the marketing behind it. So I am working with, like I said, a few organizations, and I am looking into doing some public speaking training. And then my goal is to then get into some public speaking. And so then I can share my entrepreneurial journey as a Métis woman living in rural Saskatchewan and be able to offer some motivation to some other women and people down the road.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Then Lisa, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I don't have any video, but I'm Lisa, and I'm the general manager at Northwest Community Futures. And I really love to attend these events because I'm always looking for new resources and new ways to present this information to my region. So I'm really happy to have been made aware of this by Jessica. So I'm just happy to be here.
Great, thank you. And then we have another Lisa, I see.
Hey, thank you. I'm Lisa Tycrope. I'm Cree Métis from Dalmeny, Saskatchewan. I am a retired registered nurse, and I'm following a dream. I wanted to start a business. I took my recovery coaching for addictions and mental health. And so now I want to branch off into private practice, one-on-one coaching, but also doing community workshops and presentations. And I think I landed right in this right spot because I have been struggling as to how to get my dream out there. And I've been trying to do it all alone. And, with where I've been inspired, it was getting connected. So I feel like I'm in the right forum. So thank you for letting me join, and I look forward to the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome. We're excited to have you. I see Glenna. Did you want to introduce yourself? Okay, how about Lonnie?
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, am I supposed to speak?
Just if you want to introduce yourself and if you have a business or a business idea.
Oh, my name is Lonnie, and I have a business idea. I want to care for seniors in my home.
That's a great idea. Thank you very much. And we're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that I can't see that maybe wants to introduce themselves and tell us what their business idea is or their dream? Okay, well, we'll get started. And if somebody decides they want to speak up or tell us about themselves, then please just go right ahead. Okay. So you have a business idea or a dream. Or perhaps it's even a hobby, something that you're thinking of taking to the next level. The first thing you have to do is ask yourself these two questions. Does it solve a problem? Is the first question. And can I make money doing this? So the one thing that I did when I first started my business was I had to think about what I wanted to do. So I came from a background of, I was a teacher And I didn't know really anything about running a business. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But what I did know was I wanted to start a business. I just wasn't sure exactly what that business was going to be or what it looked like. So the one thing that I thought about was, I was like, okay, what do we need in Saskatoon? So I said to myself, I knew there was a shoe store in Saskatoon that we had a few years prior. It had mid to high end shoes, and there had been nothing to really take its place. So I had to think about that. I thought, okay, does my business idea, which was this mid to high end shoe store for men, women, and children, does it solve a problem? And I thought, yes, I think it does. And then can I make money at it? So I had to think about that. I'm like, is this something that is sustainable? Is there a possibility of making money at this idea? So often what happens is people think about, they have a passion. They have something that they're really great at. Perhaps you're really great at cooking. Perhaps you have a hobby that you really enjoy. So those are the two questions you have to ask. Perhaps it does solve a problem, but is it just a hobby? Is it something that you can actually make money at? So I have three really great examples of businesses, and maybe you're familiar with these. These are three businesses that I support and that I really love. And when you take a look at them, you think, wow, these are really saturated markets. So the first business that I want to look at is a business called Hoo Ha.
Leanne, I just wanted to say your screen is frozen, or it's not in the presentation mode yet. So all we see is presenter window, and it looks like it hasn't switched on to your actual presentation yet.
Oh.
So what we see is it says presenter window, and then.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I just didn't want to rudely interrupt you until I.
No, of course not. I am not sure why it's. Okay. Let's see. Why is this is the joys of tech.
I know. And you might have to, I might have to just if you yeah,
Stop share.
Yeah, and then reopen it.
That is what I'm going to do. And my presentation is now right here. Not sure what it is doing. This is the joys of presenting. I did a presentation yesterday that was a hybrid, which was even more complex. And I'm not sure why it is not engaging here. I apologize.
No, that's fine.
Okay, we will get this working. Yes, thank you for stopping me before getting into this. Okay, share. And what's going? Oh, goodness. Why won't you let me share? Share screen. Now, I think I'm going to leave it in this mode if it's okay with everyone.
Yeah, that's fine. So right now you're at this.
The two questions,
Yeah.
everyone can see that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so does it solve a problem and can I make money? So the two questions that you ask yourself. And I was going to talk about, there's three businesses out there that I support and that I follow. And the first one is a company called Hoo Ha. So when you think about the underwear, or they're not really they're the anti-lingerie market, you would think that's a really saturated market. So what happened was the founder of this company decided that she was going to start an underwear brand. She's out of Vancouver. And so she thought, here's the question, does it solve a problem? So for her, she found that she was getting a lot of UTIs, and she couldn't find a pair of underwear that was comfortable and was made with proper fabric. So she did some research, and she created a pair of underwear that is zinc lined, that allows the body to breathe, and it keeps bacteria away. So she created a prototype. I think she's been in business for 2 to 3 years now. And it solved a problem. They are sustainably made. They solve a problem when it comes to women's health. They are very inclusive. They fit all women's body types. And so she developed this product. And then to the second question, can I make money? She's now very successful. She's carried in multiple stores like Urban Outfitters and other stores across Canada. And now she's expanding into the US. So that's an example of a company where if you take a look at the market, it would appear that that would be a very saturated market. But the difference is she solved a problem. So that's one of the ways that you can approach your business idea. For myself, like I was talking about, I had to look at, do we need another shoe store in Saskatoon? So I looked at it, did it solve a problem? And I said, yes, it did, because we had very high-end shoe stores, or we had shoe stores that were more what I would call like disposable, the kind of shoes that people would wear, for maybe a season, and that was it. So I wanted something that kind of was in the middle, and that was a little more current, and that people would find shoes that they would wear to work, and that they could wear for 4 or 5 years, and that they were willing to invest in. And then, can I make money at it? So I did and we'll talk about that piece of it a little bit more. So I had to look at the market. Was there room for me in it? And then I went about making that decision. Another store also that I follow, another company is they're called Leane Durand, and they make bathing suits. Now, again, a very saturated market. So this company makes the bathing suits that, again, you would think there are so many bathing suits company. How could this company possibly sustain themselves? So what they've done is they make bathing suits out of recycled bottles. So sustainability is a big key issue in today's society. And so they make bathing suits that fit, again, many women's bodies. So does it solve a problem? It solves a problem by creating bathing suits that are sustainable, and they fit many different women's body types. And can I make money at it? So they made the decision that by examining the market, yes, they can make money at it. So this company, like I said, I support this company. I think it's a fantastic company. They now have people like Beyonce buying their product. They've expanded. They sell out of their bathing suits pretty much when they release a new product. You have to get on their list and to get the product, because they sell out of it so quickly. And they've also been in business, I believe, about 3 years. And then another company, which is Cheekbone Beauty. And so Jen Harper was actually one of our women of influence at the Well. So we interviewed her. She has an amazing story. She is amazing. Her why is fantastic. So she started a business that is in a market that is completely flooded with product. So she started a beauty company, and as you can imagine, there are so many beauty companies out there. There are makeup brands. Every time you turn around, there's a new makeup brand out there, especially celebrities are putting out makeup brands, right? So how does someone get into this arena? So she, again, solved a problem. She wanted to see Indigenous representation in the beauty market, because for her, she felt that she couldn't see someone like herself represented in the beauty industry. And so she created the brand Cheekbone Beauty. And could she make money at it? So she proved that yes, she could make money at it. She also, everything is sustainable. She has been listed as a B Corp, which is a very high listing for companies who create very sustainable products. She's one of the few B Corp, I believe, in Canada and also in the beauty industry. And she gives back to the community. So part of her why, the reason that she does what she does, is to give back to Indigenous communities. And she also wants Indigenous representation and to change the narrative. So one of her campaigns recently, she won $100,000, I believe, and it was from Rogers. And she created an entire campaign called Write the Story. And it was to change the narrative around Indigenous people, and she's doing this through this beauty company. So those are these two questions that you can ask yourself. Does it solve a problem, and can I make money? So those are where you can start. It doesn't mean those are the only questions that you want to ask yourself, but this is where I'd like you to contemplate and start when you're looking at what your business idea is and this dream that you have. So personal discretion. So when we talk about personal discretion, I'd like to talk about, there's 5 different questions that I'd like you to think about when it comes to personal discretion. So we can look at these first 2 questions that you ask yourself. Does it solve a problem, and can I make money at it? And those are great, but it's not only about that, right? It's not only about making money and solving a problem. So personal discretion is where you have to look at how it impacts you and your lifestyle. So the first question that I would like you to ask yourself is, what is your version of having it all? Not society's, but your version. So that includes something like, and I don't want to go too quickly because I know some of you are taking notes, so I'll just repeat that. What is your version of having it all? Because this is going to play into whether or not you decide, I want to start my own business, or I want to keep this as a hobby. Or is this business viable, or do I want to do this part-time? Or is this something that I think I'm gonna take the risk, and I'm gonna leave my job, and I'm gonna decide to head out and do this business venture. So for myself, I really had to take a look at this because I was a full-time teacher. I had a pension. I had job stability, and I decided to take the risk, and I left my job, and I decided to start a business from nothing with no experience, but it fulfilled many of the things that I needed. And this is what this personal discretion is about. So flexible time. What is your work-life balance? Do you want to work from home instead of an office? These are all things that you have to think about when it's your version of having it all. Maybe this is what owning your own business will give you. maybe it will give you that satisfaction of working for yourself and not someone else. That's a lot of what choosing to start my own business gave me. I really struggled with the working from, 8 in the morning, and then I worked till about 5 every day as a teacher. And, I got a good salary. I had my summers off. A lot of people said to me, what are you doing, leaving the education system to go out on your own and start a business? But the thing for me that was really, it didn't really work for me was whether I showed up at 9 o'clock and I left at 3:30 and I did all this extracurricular and I put all this extra effort in with my students, or if I just, I was that teacher who just showed up, and left and didn't do any extra work, it didn't matter. We all collected the same paycheck. And for some people, that doesn't make a difference. But for me, it did. I was motivated by something different. So that's part of that personal discretion. Do you want to work for yourself? Do you want to feel like the work you're putting in is what you're going to get out? Also, holidays. Is that important to you, where you can pick and choose your holiday time? When you start your own business, there's that flexibility. Sometimes it gives you more holidays, sometimes it gives you less. In my case, it gave me a lot less. I went from getting my summers off, Christmas off, all the holidays to giving me, I worked 6 days a week, probably 12 hours a day, but I was incredibly happy in running my own business. So it gave me a different type of freedom. The second question I would have you ask is, what will it cost? And by that, I mean personally. What will it cost you personally? What will it cost you when it comes to your health? What will it cost when it comes to your time? For me, health-wise, it ended up costing me quite a bit. I alluded to earlier that I opened my first business, and then within 3 to 4 years, I opened a second business, and that cost me a lot. It cost me physically. It was a lot running the 2 businesses. I probably wasn't ready, and I had to do a lot of traveling, which in some respects was great. It gave me an opportunity to travel, which I hadn't expected, but it also was very physically demanding. So you have to think about, what will it cost to open a business? And perhaps you're thinking about it from the perspective of, I'm going to keep my job and I'm going to do the business off the side of my desk, or I'm going to do the business, in my evenings. What will that cost to be? There is a time cost. You have to give up something to get that time to work on your business. Financially, what is it going to cost you? You may have to give up a pension. I no longer had a pension. I no longer had that. I had to give up that security of a pension. You may have to give up a steady income, knowing where your paycheck is going to be coming from every month, or how much it's going to be. But you also may be giving up limited income. I knew exactly how much I was making every month, and there was always a ceiling on that. When you own your own business, the sky's the limit. It's often, you can make as little or as much as you can dream. So there is the flip side to that. I can tell you this much: you cannot be risk averse when you own your home business. You have to be, you have to have that capacity to have the unknown, be willing to live in the unknown. It is exciting. There's so much excitement when you have when you go after your dreams and you have that, you are able to live in your passion, there is also a lot of stress involved in that. And that brings me to the emotional. So what will it cost you emotionally? There is stress owning your own business. And I'm sure everyone understands that. If you've pursued it at this point, or you're thinking of it, there is that cost. There is the stress, those late nights when you're trying to, make your bank account, trying to figure out how to balance your bank account and how to get by paying your rent that month. And or if you're like myself, I had a brick and mortar business, so I have a lot of bills to pay. Or you're trying to figure out a lot of the marketing strategies. That's the other thing, is that often you become the person who's the expert on everything. You have to do the marketing, you have to figure out the financials aspect of it. You are also the salesperson. You are also you're your own support person. So you become the expert in all areas of your business. And then spiritually, can you support it? What will it cost you spiritually? Will it take away from your center, from where you're rooted and grounded? Are you going to have the time to give yourself time to do the things that keep you well spiritually, to meditate, to keep yourself grounded and rooted? So that would be the second question that I would ask myself when it comes to personal discretion. What will it cost me? The third one would be, what drives you? Or is it aligned with your values? And this one's really important. Before you undertake a big decision like this, or any decision, I would be sure to understand what drives you. What are your values? Is it aligned with what you want? So for example, one of my friends, one of her biggest values is freedom. So she has found that working for someone else does not align with her values. She really struggles working with someone or under someone. For her, working for herself, and sometimes in partnership with other people, that is the best and works with her values. And that's what drives her, because she needs freedom. So that is one of the biggest drivers for her. But I have another friend who is completely opposite in that way. Hers is financial stability. One of her core values is financial stability. So she has tried to pursue a dream. She had a dream of being she's a web designer. And so she tried to do her own business, but she found that the financial instability just did not align with her values. So she is now working for a large firm, and that feels more fulfilling to her because it aligns with her values. So she answered those two the two questions that I originally posed. She solved a problem and she could make money at it, but it did not align with her values. So it was not sustainable for her. She just felt constantly like she was just completely stressed, and it just was uncomfortable for her to be in a position where she did not have that financial stability of knowing how much money was coming in every month, or that she had a pension and health benefits and all of those things. So it's not just a simple one or two questions that you can ask yourself. I feel like you have to look at it. It's a multifaceted approach when you are looking at, is this a business a viable is it viable for myself? And it is a very personal question that you have to ask yourself, because everybody views it differently. And then number 4, I would say, is identify your strengths and your challenges. Are there some that will inhibit you from pursuing your business? So what are you really, really great at? And what are some things that present challenges for you? So for example, if you are looking at coaching people and you struggle with public speaking, then that is something that you need to perhaps address prior to launching a business. But that's something that you can definitely get training on, right? You can go out, get some training, and get more comfortable with that. For me, when I started my business, I realized quite quickly that bookkeeping, that was not my forte. I mean, I figured out how to do it. I learned how to read income statements, profit and loss sheets. But for example, I had to pay my PST every month, and I was late every month. And it's every day you get a fine when you don't pay your PST. And I realized within a few months that the amount I was paying in fines, I could have paid a bookkeeper. So I ended up hiring a bookkeeper and sat down with her and just said, here's what I need you to do. And, you know, we came up with an agreement, and that was the best money I ever spent. I still was involved with my finances because I had to budget and learn how to understand where my money was going. But I didn't like the reconciling my credit card and doing source deductions. I did my own payroll, but that was something that I knew was not my area of strength. I was better off spending time out on the floor with my clients, or taking time buying product or resourcing product and researching. So figuring out what your strengths are or what your challenges are is really helpful, because perhaps maybe one of the challenges you have is something that will inhibit you from making this dream a success. So I think it's really important to sit down and list, okay, these are the things I'm really great at, and these are the things that I will need help with, or may possibly stop me from moving forward with my business idea. Is there any questions at this point? Do I need to review any of did I go too fast with the questions or anything?
No.
The next thing that I would reiterate, and I would reiterate this very, very strongly, is be prepared, because that would equal a business plan. And I have a very good example of what that looks like and how that does when it doesn't work. So when I opened Durand's, I went through an organization because I needed funding. I did not have the funding to open my store. So I went through 2 different organizations, and I had to prepare, at that point in time, because it was many years ago, business plans were between 30 and 60 pages. So I prepared for 6 months. It was about a 60-page business plan. I had to go through, I did my executive summary. I had to go through market research. I had to have all sourced where I was going to buy most of my product, what my day-to-day operations would look like. I had my financial projections prepared, and this really solidified how I was going to move forward. And I referenced that business plan probably I would say once a month, if not more, in that first year. And it really kept me going and kept me moving forward and prepared me for a lot of the unexpected things that popped up. I could go back to my business plan, make adjustments, and it really helped me stay on track and move forward in a positive way in that first year especially. And I always say when I talk about business plans, they should be evergreen. You should be constantly looking at it, changing it, and making it something that you reference on a continuous basis. I can't say enough about business plans. I think they are fantastic. And I know that Sage Hill has a lot of resources that can help you with creating a business plan. I took a look at the website, and there are lots of different organizations out there that can work with you on creating business plans. And I will give you a prime example. When I opened my second store, Anne and Rosie, which I opened it 5 years after I started Durand's, I did not do a business plan. I just decided this space beside me. So my shop was attached. There was 2 spaces that were right beside each other. And the second space beside me became open. And I decided this was the perfect time for me to lease the space. And I was going to open a women's clothing store that had only Canadian designers. That was always a dream of mine. I thought this was an incredible opportunity for me to open this business. So I did not create a business plan, moved forward with it. And it was, I think the dream, the vision, the idea for the business was amazing. And I still think it was an incredible business idea. The timing was definitely off. I know a friend of mine opened a similar type of business about 3 years later and did very well with it. So if I had taken the time to do a business plan, I probably would have seen that this was not the time for me to do the business, to launch a second business, because financially I wasn't in a position, nor was the market ready. And I would have realized if I did my research that the Canadian designers that I was looking at, the supply chain, they were not in a position to be providing me with the supplies that I needed. It was very hit and miss. My orders were not coming in on time. I could not do reorder. There were so many things that did not go right in my second business, which that's why I like to include it in my CV, because I had a very successful business and I also had a business that did not do well. So, but I probably learned more from my business. Well, I shouldn't say more, but I learned so much from having a business that did not go well. It is so important to be prepared. And we have so many more resources now than when I was in business. That would have been over 20 years ago that I made my first business plan. It is much easier to get statistics and to do a market evaluation and to be prepared. So I really would strongly suggest doing a business plan, and they're much more succinct now. Investors, look at, I think they want under 20 pages. I've recently done a business plan with one of our clients, and she was opening a daycare. And I think, yeah, there would be maybe maximum 30 pages with your financial projections. And it was a lot easier to find information. So I would really recommend doing a business plan to see, especially, like I said, it helps you to see what kind of market is out there. And if it helps you to provide a blueprint, even if you don't need investors, it gives you a blueprint for what you need, and it helps you to prepare. And it also helps you to look at everything from all the angles. because there often is things that you wouldn't have thought of, and costs, like your marketing costs maybe that you hadn't thought of, or you've underestimated, or you didn't think about insurance, or you didn't think about certain costs associated with, maybe you have to get a membership into a certain association, things like that. There's all these costs that when you sit down and you actually work through a business plan, you get to see that, oh, okay, this is actually what I have to budget for. So I feel like it's really, really important to do a business plan when you're looking at a business, considering that. So that is really, really important. So I wanted to leave some time for some questions, some Q&A. Is there anyone who has any questions that they'd like to ask about anything we discussed, or anything that you would like to know about my business, or anything that we've spoken about today?
I have a question. This is Lonnie.
Yes, Lonnie, go ahead.
Do you think that home businesses would need a business plan? Like in my case, I want to open my home up to seniors and provide care for seniors who can't necessarily afford to go into the nursing homes or, the independent living environment.
Yeah, and I would say definitely for you, it's good to have a business plan, because like I said, it's a blueprint for you. And I think also for you, there might be some regulations that you need to be aware of. And I think it would be important, and it would give you an opportunity to create a budget and to figure out how much you want to charge and what your costs are going to be associated with that. And then that would help you to figure out your margins, right? So how much do you want to charge someone? And then what is the cost involved? So that would give you, it would help you break down. So how much is it going to cost you to have someone in your home? And what are all the costs of, like, the food, your time? Are you going to have to make changes to your home? And what would that, what cost?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because
right?
I was thinking about, perhaps I needed to make some adjustments and, modifications, like with the pull-up bars and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, so this is where you get to actually, you would have to go and find out, okay, so how much do these bars cost, and how much would it cost me to have someone come? And perhaps if you have to hire someone, then you would add all those costs in. And then marketing, how much would it cost me if I wanted to create a website, for example? Because how are you going to advertise to have people come get to know who you are and what your services are? So that's when you do this business plan, that's the opportunity you have to sit down and actually figure all these things out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any other questions?
I have a question for you, Leanne. In terms of, like, I'm in the early stages. I know I've answered those questions about my business. I know that it's going to fill gaps in our system, mental health and so forth. And business plan, I guess that's where I'm at is, reaching out to people. But do you have a list of resources as to who can help people with business plans? Because I think right now where I'm at is I'm trying to do it on my own, right? And I don't know all this, and the time and energy that it's taking me to look in the internet and that good old Google and stuff like that. I can run an IV and a life support system, but trying to set up my own business, it's been a little overwhelming.
It is.
Yeah, and I just wanted to interrupt you just for 1 second, Leanne. Lisa, with the IBDS program, the Indigenous Business Development Services Program, as a Indigenous person, there are resources available to you. So I'll send you an email with the contact person's name, Sherilyn Walters, and she'll be able to help you. You are in Saskatchewan, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I live in Dalmany, just outside of Saskatoon.
Yeah, so I'll send you that information, and that's Sherilyn's role, and that's the program's role, is to help Indigenous entrepreneurs start and execute a business. And we have piles of resources, so I'll send that to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no
That's
problem.
great. Thanks, Jessica.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you have a lot of resources here, so that would be the first place that I would suggest. There are other external resources, but I think you guys have amazing resources from what I've seen. So,
Mhm.
and you know what? I understand that it's hard when you're starting out and you're trying to figure things out. It's very daunting. So I can appreciate what you're saying. I remember when I first started, like I said, I came from an education background, which you're coming from, you're an expert in what you know, and then all of a sudden you're trying to start this business, or you have this amazing idea. And I would suggest, yeah, you go to the people who can help you, and you will get some help. So
Mhm.
I'm just going to put up this last slide. It just has a quote. And then we can kind of group back. So decide whether or not the goal is worth the risks involved. If it is, stop worrying. And that's a quote from Amelia Earhart.
Mm.
So I would love to say it's as easy as that, but and I want to, we don't have to end, but I just wanted to switch it off of the screen share mode.
Mhm.
And I really wanted to thank you for your time today. And I got to get out of this screen share mode now. Stop share. There we go. There we go. So now I can see everyone. But if you have more questions, please, I would be more than willing. We have a couple more minutes. If you have.
And another great resource too is Sask Startup Institute. They used to be called Square One, and they're really great for market research and things like that. But I know that IBDS will definitely help you, Lisa. And I don't want to take too long. Galaxy Note here, well, whomever that is has a question. So go ahead. Or maybe not.
Oh, it's in the chat, I think.
Oh. Let's see here. Oh. Can you speak about building a personal brand as a business owner, or any tips overcoming fear of visibility as a business owner and showing up online if you've always been behind the scene?
Okay, so that's a really great question. I would suggest if you can build up a brand even if you don't want to put yourself out in front. I know there's the idea that you have to put yourself in the forefront. There is one really great person on Instagram that I would suggest you follow, and it's called Paper Ocelot. I'll put it in the chat. And she has built an amazing brand, and she does not show herself at all. She shows only her product. And what she does is she actually was working full time. I'm trying to remember what she was in, I believe in tech, and she decided to pursue her dream of, she makes wedding invitations now, and she does it all. She does calligraphy, she does wax seals, just beautiful. And she has created this, she does it worldwide now. And that was one of her things, is that she never wanted to put herself in front of as the brand. And so she has created a brand and does not put herself out there at all. It's all her product. So you can do it. It is possible. She is someone that I would definitely, we have had her at the Well host a workshop on how to do that. So, it is possible to do it. I think you have to, I'll put it in the chat. I think you have to be yourself. I don't think you should try to be anything that you're not. So if you're not comfortable putting yourself out there, I don't think you should try to be something you're not. Absolutely. Like I don't do a lot of social media. One, I don't have the time, and two, that's not my thing either. Whereas someone like my other business partner, Tammy, and I know she presented to this here, she's very outgoing, and she loves to do that. So I think you just have to be very genuine.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like Tammy often talks about that. You need to be authentic, and if that's not you, don't do it, because people will really sense that you're not being genuine and you're uncomfortable, and that's, it creates that contagious feeling of unease if somebody's not comfortable with that. So
exactly. And you don't have to put yourself out there to create your brand. There are brands out there that we would never know who the founder is, right? Like that's not every founder has to be the face of their brand. So it's not imperative that you have to be. I know the way social media makes it seem like you have to be that person front and center, but you don't have to. I should double check. I think it's Paper Ocelot is her. My phone is somewhere and I shut it off, but I have an iPad. I have things binging here. So
no, that's fine. I can I'll look into that too, Leanne, and I can send that out with the email follow up.
Is there any other questions?
I don't think so, but thank you. That was great, Leanne, and it was really nice to meet you and put a face to your name.
Well, I hope it was helpful to everyone and that it gave people some sort of idea and some things to ask themselves before they move forward with a business, and some things to consider, because it's really important to put yourself first and to think about what you want when you're looking at moving forward with a business idea. I think that's what is the most important, is what do you want and is it right for you? And it's a very personal decision. So I hope that it was helpful, and I really enjoyed being here, and thank you very much for having me.
You are welcome. And thank you to everybody else who came on today.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too.